not pressed. And I think if you go through the police report, you can decide for yourself whether or not he should have been. And I think you'll understand a lot more about it than we get in the press, which is just kind of vague allusions to it. But the police report is out there. It's 22 pages. It's not that long. You can read it. You could put up D2 here, which is the beginning of this police report. Jane Doe in 2017 goes to a hospital where she is from, says that she was the victim of sexual assault about roughly a week earlier at a conference in Monterey. The nurse reports it to the police. I put up D3 here. Essentially, her version that she tells the police is that she's at this conference, she goes to a bar, she's hanging out with Pete Hegseth and another woman.
Hegseth is a speaker at the conference. She's his handler.
Yeah, and she winds up blackout drunk, either drugged, some other situation. She has barely any memory of it. The memories come back to her over the next several days. And then she goes to the hospital and reports this crime. So that's essentially her version of it. So to counter that version of it, Hegseth or his defenders would basically have to show that she was not, significantly intoxicated. And so the rest of the police report kind of basically investigates that question. And so we can put up the next element on the screen here.
This is her saying she was in contact via text messages between Jane Doe.
Oh, and they got in a fight at the pool.
Yeah. He was giving off, quote, creeper vibe. A creeper vibe. So to the point you were making, Ryan, this is information about Pete Hegseth, like sort of being very flirtatious. He has a new baby at the bar with all of these women who are not his wife, and he's just giving off a vibe. He's trying to get people up to his room, is what the that's the gist of those memories from the night.
So you can put up the next element here. These are text messages that she exchanged with her husband, and you can read them for yourself. You can find them in there. And he's like, "Whoa!" He's saying to her, "Whoa, it's like 2 a.m. You're usually not out at 2 a.m." She doesn't respond to him anymore after about 2. Are you okay? Where are you? What's going on? And you can see that
he was at the conference. Right. Her husband's also at the conference.
Right. You can go to D6 here. This is another person that was, with them.
She was aware of the situation.
Right.
That's her sort of use to the police report here. She told this person, or the Jane Doe told this person that she, quote, must have fallen asleep.
Yeah, that's right.
And this person said that the Jane Doe did not have a hard time walking and was not slurring her words, which is from Hegseth's. You can read that in different ways depending on how you're seeing the situation. You can say that means she knew exactly what she was doing, or you can say that means she must have been later drugged if she had no memory of the situation. But I think probably Hegseth sees that as a sort of notch in his corner.
And so D6 is the key spot here. That is kind of what Hannity and Hegseth are referring to there. They found a bunch of surveillance video from the hotel. So they're walking together, kind of arm in arm. Neither,
It's 1:30 in the morning.
1:30 in the morning. She doesn't appear to be intoxicated because her assertion was that she was, blackout drunk.
Right.
Video of her kind of arm in arm walking normally.
Yeah. At 1:30 in the morning.
At 1:30 in the morning, undercuts that. Basically, here they get surveillance video of them by the pool, and also looks like talk to a security guard who kind of went to break up kind of an argument that they were having by the pool. The security guard says that Hegseth actually seemed kind of drunk. He yells at the cop at one point, "I have freedom of speech." It's 2 a.m. and he's being told to quiet down. At a conference, he's drunk and he's like yelling
I've got free speech.
Yelling at a mall cop that he has free speech. And this is going to be our Secretary of Defense. So none of this is funny, except that part.
I mean, that's pretty funny.
The security guard says that Jane Doe was there and did not seem inebriated at all. So again, think about if you're a prosecutor, you're going to have to bring all of these, you're going to have to bring this surveillance camera, you're going to have to bring this security guard who's going to say, okay, she said she was blackout drunk. She did not look that drunk to me.
And that excerpt also showed the police officer saying, I found additional security footage of them walking arm in arm, smiling, and neither appeared to have an unsteady gait. That's the quote from the report.
So we could put up the next one here.
This is him touching at the bar.
So basically what's going on here, Hegseth is at the bar and he's hitting on a woman. The woman wants absolutely nothing to do with him. and she goes and gets Jane Doe,
Yeah.
which she tells the police. She brought her in to be a crotch blocker. Now, I think she was being polite to the police there, and in her description of that term. Everybody knows what the term is. We don't have to use it here. And so brings Jane Doe in there to just get this creep off of me.
Yes.
And so then Jane ends up, spending a lot of time chatting with him.
Right. The witness
Many
says
such cases.
she was hoping that Jane Doe's presence would detour Hegseth's attempt to have sex with that witness. And he was touching her knee. That's uncomfortable, apparently. And she said that Hegseth invited her back to the hotel room, and she politely declined that. And this is where the Jane Doe gets involved.
So we can go to D10 then. This is Hegseth's version of the story, where he's basically saying that they walked back to his room together.
He doesn't remember even getting into that argument by the pool, but again, there's witnesses.
Right. So he guy seems like pretty drunk.
Yeah.
Based on all of this, he says he's kind of surprised that she's coming back to the room with him. Mm-hmm. Because clearly, like, he was hitting on somebody else the whole night. He's like, "What's going on? Like, how is this happening?" So Hegseth independently, told the police. Jane Doe stated that she would tell her husband that she had fallen asleep on a couch in someone else's room. Hegseth continually asked Jane Doe if she was okay because he did not want Jane Doe to get in trouble. Hegseth told Jane Doe that she did not have to worry about him saying anything. Hegseth stated Jane Doe showed early signs of regret. Hegseth did not elaborate on the signs of regret. I think why this part is relevant, this stated that she would tell her husband that she had fallen asleep, is that Hegseth would not have known that there were these other text messages where she's telling other people that she kind of fell asleep.
Right.
That would be kind of corroborating evidence that how would he have made that? Because that's a pretty specific detail. And then she did then go and tell people, like,
right.
Look, I fell asleep in somebody's room, sorry. Elsewhere in the police report, they quote the person whose room she came back to, saying that she got into the room with her own card, no problem, didn't seem drunk, and then did not seem hungover in the morning.
Yeah.
So, nobody can know what happened in the room, but the claim was not that he, violently kind of forced himself on her. The claim was that she was blackout drunk.
Too drunk to consent.
Or drugged.
Too inebriated to consent, essentially.
And you can see why there's so much evidence that would have been presented in court that would have undermined that claim.
Mm-hmm. It would have been very hard, and this is what this is what law enforcement in the area has since said, is that we would have to have had proved this, but beyond a reasonable doubt. And this is very much a he said, she said situation with a lot of evidence against the she said part of it. It doesn't mean that's impossible. It doesn't mean her story is impossible. It just means that proving her story would be borderline impossible. And so this is 2017. Right. She gets a lawyer and starts making noise in 2020. And it looks like, we don't know the date of the settlement, actually. It looks like it happened shortly after the lawyers got involved in late 2020, so around December 2020. So I would assume that the settlement happened in early 2021. You can see why someone would try to make noise about a Fox News host that they had an encounter with. And obviously there's a police report in this situation. She got a rape kit the next morning, and there was semen. So you can understand why she would try to bring this up, and why Hegseth, who didn't want to sort of.
But she didn't go public about it.
We still don't know who she is.
The situation,
Yeah.
Her husband's now being interviewed, and like her husband in this police report is presenting evidence that undercuts her own story.
Yes.
If you're reading between the lines, you're like, he doesn't seem to buy it.
You could see
if you're reading this police report.
And you can read the Me Too part of this either way. You can say you can understand where it would galvanize her to say, hey, this powerful married man was being really creepy to me, and it ended up in a tragedy for me. Or you can see where it would be like, I bet I can get money at this point because he's not going to want this to be public. So you can read it in a couple of different ways, but I think the most important way to read it, Ryan, is that it just can't be proven. Hegseth has obviously copped to the adultery. He's admitted that.
Right, and he literally had just had a child with the woman he had an affair on, his previous wife.
Yeah, it's really gross.
And you can read the email from his mom. His mom's like, dude, you're such a dog.
Yeah.
Stop treating women so awfully.
Yeah, it's really gross.
And it's extra gross when he's then